Hello Internet, today is Wednesday, March 2nd. This is Hot Button Hashtags and I am Adam. So we are officially in March. And one of the things that you may not know about March, maybe you do, I don't know, is that this is National Irish Heritage Month. Now this is actually kind of a big deal for me because one of the things that I really love is genealogy. I love kind of studying where my family came from. I love studying where like my roots are. And fortunately, I have family members who love that as well and have done a lot of research. And so what I wanted to do today actually is a little bit different. I wanted to give you a peek into my Irish heritage by reading you a story. I know this is very different than any video I've ever made, but I actually think this is super interesting. You may not care at all, but I would love it if you stuck around and heard this story. So here's who the story is about. The story is about my great grandfather and grandmother, Henry Gillen and Jane Kinnear. Now they lived in Ballymena, Ireland, which is where my great-great-grandfather, David Gillen, was born on February 14th, 1872. Now my great-great-great-grandfather, Henry Gillen, who I talked about, was actually killed in a rock quarry accident. So after the rock quarry accident, the story continues. In 1862, David's uncle Jimmy Gillen left Ireland when he was 40 years old and came to the United States. After being in the U.S. for 20 years, he heard of a potato famine in Ireland, and suspecting that his brother's widow, Jane Kinnear, my great-great-great-grandmother, and her family may need help, Jimmy returned to Ireland to find the family deep in poverty. He chose David's brother Robert to go back to America with him for 1 year. If at the end of 1 year, Robert liked the United States, he was to return for the rest of the family. 1 year later, Robert returned to Ireland with money from Uncle Jimmy to bring the family to the United States. But each boy in the family was to pay back that money to Uncle Jimmy. The mother was for transportation fare to get from Ireland to the United States. Now, my family actually left Ireland on February 14th, 1883 from Larne, Ireland. And they boarded the state liner, the USS Pennsylvania, and headed to America. They got to America on March 18th, 1883. So at this point, my great-great-grandfather, David Gillen, arrives in America as a 10-year-old. So one of the things that I really love and part of the story that I'm fascinated by is that my great-great-grandfather, David, as a 10-year-old, gets off the train once they've been here in America and owes this $45 transportation debt to Uncle Jimmy. He looks around and this is what he says. He says, "I'm $45 worse off than a tramp because a tramp has nothing. But I have a $45 debt." I'm fascinated by that. Everyone in the family immediately found work once they came to America. Harry, David's brother's first job, paid $1.25 a week. David's mother, my great-great-great-grandmother, Jane Gillen, was 52 years old when they left Ireland to come to the United States. She lived 16 years after arriving in the United States. My great-great-grandfather David was 28 years old when she passed away. When Jane died, the family had a hard time accepting her death. David and his wife Della got up during the funeral service at the church, holding hands, walked up to her casket and stood over her little body and wept and wept. And I love this, as Jane Kinnear, my great-great-great-grandmother, must have been a marvelous little lady to raise a family alone to adulthood. Remember, her husband died in a quarry accident in Ireland. She survived and kept her family alive through the potato famine, comes to the United States, a whole new land, in her 50s. And it says, "I'm sure her children loved her very dearly." So that's my Irish heritage story of how my family came to America. So my great-grandmother, Lavilla, who I met and loved and was always such a character, was actually the first person in my family there, in this kind of lineage of my family, who was born in America, because her father, my great-great-grandfather David, was born in Ireland. So that's my Irish heritage story, and I just thought it's Irish Heritage Month. I would share that with you guys, and I would love to know. Tell me in the comments below: is your heritage or your lineage, is this the kind of stuff that you're interested in? I am fascinated by it. I love learning this kind of stuff. In fact, Sherry and I went to Ireland a number of years ago, and it was hands down the best vacation we have ever gone on, like above any Disney vacation. I know, mind blown for us, but there was something something that was so magical about Ireland. And one of the things I would actually really love to do is to go back and retrace kind of family roots all through Ireland. I think that'd be pretty cool. So thank you guys for watching Hop on Hashtags. I know it was a little bit different, but that's my Irish heritage story, and I hope you guys have a great day.